Okay, so with avoiding conflict, right, you have a couple of languages, right? So you have the underlying language, and you have what you're saying, right? So with the underlying language, you can kind of create almost a cowboy moment part two, if you will, or like a Wild West draw, right? Because oftentimes, right, when I'm walking by and I see like those shady dudes or whatever, put their hand in their pockets or whatever, I'm very natural and comfortable because of all my years of experience and stuff like that with blades and whatnot for immediately reaching into my pocket because I keep my blade in pocket. So once again, a lot of people think that, I'm just fucking with my keys because I'm a fidgety person, right? So once I come across those dudes immediately before they're even close to me, right? Now they have a situation where they're like, who's faster? And that's it. That's the only option I give them. You know what I'm saying? Now that doesn't mean that I'm the expert and that you all always have to listen to what I say when it comes to violence and criminality and all these types of things. In no way at all do I feel this way. Okay? The reason why I explain the things that I do, or I talk about the stuff that I've seen, or maybe, how I do things, is it's just this stuff is so crazy and unpredictable that there's many different guys who have been in some shit and know martial arts and know how that relationship is with trying to train in an isolated environment for a crazy unpredictable environment, right? So that's all I'm doing, is I'm just giving my cues here and things that I do. So because I've been involved in, the more dark side of life and stuff like that, I'm not just a random civilian. You know what I'm saying? So when those guys are around, the type of dude who'd come up to you with a knife and say, give me all your stuff or whatever, right? The thing is that as soon as I'm talking either to them or one of those crazy people who walks up, like I've explained about interacting with criminals and 7-Elevens, this type of stuff, or when I was talking about phones, people come to you, ask you to use your phone and stuff like that. They probably think I'm a psychopath, let's be honest, because by the time they start up whatever's going on, I've already planned in their language to violently assault them. Think about that. You're coming over to somebody to do something horrible, and that person, and you know exactly how you're going to do it, and they start doing it. They start doing all the things that you would have done in terms of how they're placing themselves or how they're moving and with the look in their eyes. Dude, why carry a knife? Not to use it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've ever pulled it out. I've put my hand on it thousands of times. And I've had knives pulled on me. Thankfully, though, that was a threat display kind of situation. Do you see what I'm saying? This was not somebody attacking me with a knife, because that would just be horrible. I'm lucky about, and one of the threat displays I did, get hands on just because I wasn't sure if he was just going to leave it as such. You see what I'm saying? But I don't count that as a real disarm. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those people who's out there thirsty for clout. I've seen some dark shit, and half of my life nowadays is just trying to cope and not, get too messed up with substances. Anyways, those, it's almost as if I gotten spoiled, you know what I mean? Like, these individuals out there who want to do horrible things to people, I think they probably don't. They're not going to bother with me until I'm quite a bit older. And then at that point, it's a shooting, that's going to be a shooting thing. Not that I don't carry now, but you know what I'm trying to say. Okay. So, now, that's the first part. Always the first part when it comes to keeping yourself safe or trying to avoid conflict. The first part is that you have some firepower behind you. When I put my hand on my knife, my aura is horrible because I'm real. I'm thinking about how I'm going to properly stab someone to death, right? Because I'm in a dangerous situation and I don't have the recourse to, I guess, call the cops or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe it's too quick of a situation. So, once that is laid out, you know what I mean? Once you're like, you're well trained in fighting, you've had like maybe either a couple of matches or a lot of hard sparring and maybe a couple of real life situations. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that you need that first, that shit backing you up. So You can go to the other side, where now it's about a kind of a verbal thing, where, I would say there's no, you would know if this is something that you would fight over. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you would know if you upset somebody in a way that was going to lead to a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, say you were driving and you were being a fucking complete worthless driver. You had your phone out and everything, and you smashed into somebody, and, or dude, maybe their kid was in the back of their car. You see what I'm saying? Dude, they might take a swing on you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying get out of the car and attack them, this person you wronged, but they may try to come at you. You see what I'm saying? Also, if you hook up with some guy's girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? Like, one time in college, like, there was a guy, and me and his girl were hitting it off, and I shouldn't have, I guess, whatever. But the thing is that he, at this party, was totally putting the moves on my friend's girlfriend. And I don't know, I guess this got complicated, but I got angry at him for that, and I'm like, well, your girl's hot, so I'm going to do this. Either way, he approached me and was telling me how upset he was that I did this. And I'm thinking, like, whoa, you know what? This is about to be a fight. I did something really wrong. So I said to him, like, hey, man, you have all the right to want to fight me, and I'll honor that if you want to fight. And he laughed, and he was like, dude, you're gonna beat my ass. Like, why would I fight you? Like, I mean, you seem like a logical, decent guy, and I just felt we could talk about this. So, trust me, you'll always know. You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of guys out there who, for them, like, they almost anything is worth fighting over. And you don't know where they could be in life, or maybe just that day they were just especially pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've watched so many videos and been out in the club, at the door of the club and stuff, and seen these dudes, like, immediately, like, yelling and shit in each other's faces and escalating shit. And I'm just like, it's alien to me. I'm like, whoa, why would you start shit over, these little things? Or why are you so down to get into a fight? But, everyone's different. And that, to me, in closing, that is another reason as to why I usually avoid these fights. Because it takes two to tango, doesn't it? So if a guy is at this point for whatever reason, and he wants things to get physical, and you don't, right? Because it's not something you would have fought over. Well, that's going to really help you. Like, really understanding that is going to help you avoid these fights. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, just give you an example. I walked across to a different sidewalk when I was walking around in this big apartment complex, right? Because there was a huge group of guys just standing stationary in the middle of this kind of walk path. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no room. You have to go right through them. You would have to ask, like, two people to move, and, like, and they're all wild and shit. And so I'm thinking to myself, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm moving into this place, I don't want to, like, have all this stuff in my hands and, somebody hit me or try to get my shit or whatever. So I cross. And, dude, these guys were yelling pussy and all this types of shit. You know what I'm saying? The quickest way to ensure that I'm probably not going to fight you is you yelling names at me and shit when nothing has transpired yet and you haven't done anything. If you're walking towards me with your fist clenched, calling me a pussy, I'm probably going to punch you in the face, honestly, just being real with you. But if you even weren't calling me a pussy and you were walking up to me with your hands balled, I might even be more afraid of that. I might be like, oh man, I pissed off this guy's real violence. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, always kind of keep stock of the fact that if you're even asking yourself if this is a situation that, you should be fighting in, or if it's anything that you have doubt, it's not. And the law wouldn't back it up either. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of delicate out there. Like, street fights, like fights, a lot of the times they shouldn't be happening. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there are moments where a guy closed the distance on you because he saw you as some victim figure, okay? And you can shove him, right, back because he got too close to you. And now his hands are up, and now you have a fight, okay? Yes, that type of thing would be self-defense in a fight. Because if you turned your back, depending on where this is, he may be able to get to you. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to fight him, you know what I mean, because of the speed of the situation. But just understand that, like, your instinct is probably correct, because you would have been doing something already. It's not easy to go from you being like, I don't know if fighting is something I want to do, to pounding somebody's face. This is why people freeze, and there's more to talk about with that. So the thing is that, but once again, if it was a serious situation, you would have put hands on, and maybe even not a violent way, and then it would have gotten violent because the guy would have gotten violent with you. Say, for instance, you go to the bathroom and you're at a club, and you come back from the bathroom, and a guy started talking to your girl, and he didn't know that she had a boyfriend, okay? And he's a piece of shit, an animal, okay? So she says, no, I got a man's or whatever, but he doesn't see you. Maybe, as for all he knows, you're at home. You know what I mean? She's out with her girlfriends. And she says, maybe he doesn't like that he got rejected. And as you're walking out from the bathroom, he like smacks her in the face or something. You know what I mean? Or he gets physically aggressive with her. I know guys want to run in swinging. Firstly, that may not legally work out for you. And secondly, it's not likely for just how we're wired. You know what I mean? More than likely what's going to happen if you were to stand up for her honor, right? Like, which is kind of difficult when we get down to it, But let's say you do that. It would probably be more like you running over and kind of shoving him and be like, what are you doing? And then you have a fight. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not a legal expert. Not everything that I say is the gospel. But when it comes to avoiding conflict and making sure that you avoid conflict, sometimes it can be a little tricky. You know what I'm saying? There's stuff that goes into it. And you may doubt yourself, like afterwards, be like, man, like, maybe I should have kicked that guy's ass. Nah. Nah. Maybe some harsh words. That's where that other video, Cowboy Moment Part 1, that's where that comes in. Where it's like, okay, well, you could have said some stuff. Maybe if you're thinking about it this hard after the fact, then yeah, maybe there's some things that can be done for dealing with intimidating situations and aggressive people. But like, no, you probably didn't need to fight them. And I'm glad you didn't.